people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
The undisputed super featherweight champion of the world, Alicia, the Bumgarner.
That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Originally #1 in the IBF, but I got dropped the other day. Rama Ali is above me. I don't understand how she is. I'm definitely better than her, and I should have stayed #1, and I should be fighting Ali. But now we're going to have to fight Rama, so I'm coming for you, and I'm coming for both of them. Rama's not a threat to me. No way. She's not going to stop me. Good luck. They're just trying to put her in front of because they don't want me to fight Ali Scotney. Which is a bloody joke. Come on. I'm ready to fight now.
So you'll knock Rama out?
Yes, I'll knock Rama out for sure, 100%. I know my ability, I know my strength. So, yeah, good luck. I don't think none of them have been in the ring. Like, I'm definitely 100% the biggest puncher in that division. I know. You can't knock me out, though, because no one's ever hurt me.
Why is that?
Because I'm bloody strong. I can take hits, I can take punches. I take it in the ring and I take it at training. So, yeah, I've never had it in my fight. So I'm waiting for a female to test me. No one's tested me yet.
That is unbeaten up-and-comer from New Zealand, Mea Motu, who campaigns in the same division as Ramla and the same division as Ali Scotney, expressing her discontent that the IBF have so decided to rate Ramla Ali ahead of her. I think that the IBF's rationale might be that in avenging that loss to Johanna Guzman, who's a devastating puncher...
And I said as much
I did.
Before she knocked Ramla Ali out.
To the IBF, that's enough for Ramla Ali to be ranked ahead of Mea. I have to admit that since debuting as a professional in 2020...
That's the same year that Ramla Ali debuted as a professional.
And where Ramla Ali is 9-1 as a professional with 10 professional bouts, Mea Motu is 17-0 with 17 professional bouts. 7 more fights than Ramla Ali has, so I see where the discontent is coming from. I understand Mea Motu's rationale. She says that she believes she's the biggest puncher at the weight. With that, I take some issue. With that, I can't quite agree. I'd have to say the biggest puncher at the weight, at least to the eye.
Or at least one among them who produces violent knockouts, particularly violent knockouts. It's got to be Argentina's own Nazarena Romero. It's hard to come up with a fighter with more single punching power in a single punch than Argentina's Nazarena Romero or Mexico's own Mayeli Flores.
She is also a very strong puncher, a mid-range to inside pressure fighter, a handful, just like Nazarena. Coincidentally, these 3 fighters are ranked right behind each other. Mea Motu is ranked ahead of Nazarena, and Nazarena is ranked ahead of Mayeli Flores.
And we can't forget about Julissa Guzman, too. Julissa Guzman, who Ramla Ali just fought, who Ramla Ali just beat.
That in the realm of strong punchers in the women's super bantamweight division, Mea Motu is not alone. She's not up there by herself. There are quite a few strong punchers in this division. What I always say, 122 really is one of the deeper divisions in the sport of women's boxing. The talent pool is deep. It's rich.
Mea Motu has a fight coming up. She's got a fight coming up next month.
And she is making her case for a fight with either Ali Scotney, reigning IBF champion, one of 4 champions at this weight, or for a fight with Ramla Ali, who is now ranked ahead of her. Ramla may be ranked at #1 with the IBF, but immediately after her fight, her rematch with Johanna Guzman, I noticed that she was in possession of a WBA title of some kind, a lesser version of the title, and the reigning WBA champion at this weight is Eric Cruz. So I'm wondering Is Matchroom thinking about matching Ramla against either Ellie or Erica?
I don't think that's the way to go. I think that if what Matchroom wants is to put Ramla in a title fight, she should go after either Mexico's own WBC champion, Yemi Mercado, or France's own WBO champion, Sigolene Lafarge.
Sigo, as she's nicknamed, was in action not but a few days ago, successfully defending her WBO title against the United Kingdom's own Tszyu Gallagher. Sigo still is WBO champion, and I would sooner put Ramla Ali in the ring with Sigolene Lafarge than Erica Cruz or Ali Scotney. I would sooner put Ramla in the ring with Yemi Mercado.
Matchroom has under contract 2 out of 4 champions at this weight. WBA champion Erica Cruz, she's a Matchroom fighter. Ali Scotney, she's a Matchroom fighter as well.
Shoot for 3, see if you can't get a 3rd belt on your side of things, and then orchestrate a tournament between the champions, between the title holders, Ali Scotney, Erica Cruz, and what could be Ramla Ali.
That's how I would do it, because the super bantamweight division is an open book with a deep and rich talent pool. There are many, many good fights to make.
And New Zealand's own Mea Motu is very much a part of that picture. She's going to be returning to action early next month on the 2nd. If she stays unbeaten and she's successful, she is in line for either a Ramla Ali fight or an Ali Scotney fight. Pick your poison. I wouldn't mind seeing Mea Motu share the ring with either of those fighters. Mea Motu has been working hard behind the scenes, flying low on the radar, at least in this part of the world. She's all the way down there in New Zealand. We don't get that much news from out of New Zealand, but she's definitely one to watch out for, and as stated, I wouldn't mind seeing her show her shit against the best and brightest fighters at this weight.
She's making it known that she's got both Ramla Ali and Ellie Scotney in her crosshairs.
We'll see what both Ramla and Ellie have to say about it in the coming year. In men's junior middleweight news, newly crowned WBO champion Tim Kazoo on his return, Erickson Lubricant is in the mix for possible March defense. Erickson Lubricant, who was in action not that long ago opposite the ring Jesus Ramos, and I think Erickson was very fortunate to get the decision. Churlo would obviously be the best, and a fight we'd all love, but it isn't something we will be holding our breath over. So of course, if we can get belts too, we go for belts, but if not, we go for a fight that makes sense in America, and generally that's against either an American or a Mexican, Rose told Fox Sports Australia. Erickson Lubricant is absolutely in the mix, and at the moment there aren't many other people in the division that would make sense for a Las Vegas fight, but there are discussions with every option available. We want to lock it away within the next few weeks and before our December 15th card in Sydney. That way, based on the outcomes of that December card, we can then push on with next year. And it's a nuanced situation what George Rose is describing, because you're talking about a card that No Limit Promotions is promoting, not the PBC. It's not a PBC show. You're talking about a card that No Limit is promoting, comprised of primarily Australian fighters geared towards an Australian audience, happening on American soil, happening in Las Vegas. What George Rose and the people at No Limit are trying to do is correlate their show with an event said to be happening in Las Vegas next year.
It has something to do with rugby, which we all know is very big in Australia. Some kind of rugby league that's going to be in Las Vegas next year. What No Limit wants to do is correlate their show with that event. They're expecting a lot of Australians to be in town, a lot of Australians in Las Vegas. They want to correlate this show with that event.
And they are looking at Erickson Lubricant as a possible opponent for Tim Kazoo, newly crowned WBO champion. We all know Erickson Lubricant. He's a PBC guy, a PBC fighter. And as it pertains to the PBC, according to Boxing Insider Rick Glacier, you'll see what the PBC Amazon deal is really all about. Not by some media release or reporters writing fuzzy things, but by the many Heyman and PBC fighters that will refuse to fight for the little money that'll be offered, especially after being spoiled for years with artificially grossly inflated purses. Many of those fighters will not be able to mentally handle the market correction that Heyman/PBC fighters will now experience, and many will be sitting doing nothing.
I caught wind of some inside intel yesterday that seems to indicate the Amazon deal is not just a pay-per-view distribution deal. There will be some licensing.
Licensing for what are non-pay-per-view shows. The initial rumor was that Amazon offered the PBC a deal where they would distribute their pay-per-views and market their pay-per-views, but the buck stopped there. They weren't going to be given a budget to do shows annually the way they were given a budget at Showtime. The rumor has since changed, at least the one that I heard. The rumor I heard is they are going to be given some money to do some shows that aren't box office fights.
So could two things be true at the same time? Because what Rick is suggesting is there's going to be so little money on the table for these PBC fighters in this Amazon deal, they're not going to want to fight.
And how does this affect Tim Kazoo, that upcoming show that's supposed to be happening next year? Well, Tim wants to fight a PBC guy. He wants to fight a PBC fighter in what isn't a PBC show. No Limit Promotions would be at the helm of promotion for this event. Not Al Heyman and not the PBC. It wouldn't be happening on Al Heyman's dime.
The nature of their relationship was centered around doing a Jermel Charlo fight that may not happen. Most people don't even think Jermel is going to come back to the junior middleweight division.
That was more or less the nature of Tim's relationship with the PBC in tandem with his relationship with Showtime, that was airing his Australian fights here in America on their platform. Now that Showtime is leaving the sport of boxing, Tim needs a new US broadcast partner. Could that broadcaster be Amazon?
Via the PBC's new deal?
Even though this really isn't a PBC show?
No, it's not, but Tim does want to fight a PBC fighter.
Tim Kazoo still is campaigning at junior middleweight, and at junior middleweight, the PBC still have Erickson Lubricant. They still have Sebastian Fundora, who's going to be in action very soon opposite the ring, Sergey Bohachuk, for WBC interim status.
They've still got Erickson Lubin. They've still got Sebastian Fundora. I think they still have Jesus Ramos.
What's best for Tim Kazoo moving forward? Who would be the best fit for a new US broadcast partner now that Showtime is leaving the sport of boxing? PBC, they still have some bodies at this weight, but how much pull?
How much juice are they going to have, even if they do jump into bed with Amazon? If Rick Glacier is right, they're not going to have a whole lot of money to play.
Whole lot of money to pay. Not that No Limit is in need of their money anyway. This event we're talking about is said to be a No Limit promotion on No Limit's dime, not the PBC's. So it very much is a nuanced situation that will require some answers, and hopefully we'll get them by the time next year gets here. And finally, when it comes to men's heavyweight news, former WBC champion Deontay Wilder says when people come to see the heavyweight division, most of all, they come to see knockouts, and I can't disagree with him. As it pertains to the land of the giants, the big men, the heavyweight division, that is why people tune in, because you're likelier to get a knockout at heavyweight than some other weights. I'm just ready to go. When people come to see heavyweight boxing, they come to see excitement. Wilder noted during the kickoff press conference Wednesday, about a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, at the OVO Arena in Wembley, London, most of all, they come to see knockouts. One thing's for sure, when I come, that's what I come to deliver.
Some confusion and the growing sentiment from Wilder that his fight with Joseph Parker should be the headline.
Should be the main event. That's what he's been saying in the subsequent days that have followed that kickoff press conference, that because he's likelier than Anthony Joshua to end his fight by way of a violent knockout, he should be the main event, his fight with Joseph Parker. But need I remind you that Deontay Wilder, he headlined his own show late last year, his big comeback fight with Robert Helenius, and in spite of delivering a massive knockout, he didn't deliver massive numbers. That, in spite of what he's saying and what bits of it are true, he's still not a bigger draw than Anthony. Come December 23rd, I'm coming to do the same. Coming for the same mission, noted Wilder. I'm coming to get my titles back and unify the division. I've got everything I need in life. but to come back and finish what I started is going to mean everything to me. It sounds a lot like Wilder's making a second title run, and I don't really know that's what this is. The end game is supposed to be a showdown with Anthony Joshua, provided that Wilder takes care of business and Anthony takes care of business. Titles, they don't really come into it.
And at his age and his sparse schedule of activity the last 2 or 3 years, does he even still have what it takes to make another world title run?
He says that his fight with Joseph Parker on December 23rd, that should be the main event. People want to see knockouts, they want to see excitement, but you already were the main event of your own show. You already headlined your own show last year, your own show in your own neck of the woods, your own country, and you didn't draw. For a show like this that costs this much money to put together, you need someone who can draw, and that's Anthony more than Wilder, whether Wilder likes it or not. That's why I think me and Parker should be the main event, Wilder told ES News. We're also 2 former champions. Why wouldn't you have 2 former champions as the main event? I requested a flip of a coin, Wilder continued. Maybe at the presser. I think that would be good promotion. I think that would spice it up a little bit. This is not a Joshua show. This is not my show. This is all of our show. The thing about it is that I want the best for all of them. I want things to happen where the excitement is going to be. I see that Wilder's ego is still getting in the way of things, even if
it's not an according to Hoyle matchroom show, but it just so happens that the matchroom fighter still is the biggest draw. Of all these familiar faces on this bill, only one of them is on the Forbes list, and you don't end up on the Forbes list with names like Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, LeBron James. You don't end up there by accident.
Wilder continued. We know that between Joshua and Otto Wallin, and me and Parker, which one do you think is the most exciting? And I feel the most exciting fight should be the main event. At the end of the day, when people come to fights, they want to see knockouts. They want to see excitement. Women lie, men lie, but my numbers don't lie. I have more of a chance of knocking my opponent out than Anthony Joshua does and bringing the excitement. The last thing that people want to see and go home to, a dramatic knockout, and then you leave. And he's right that women lie and men lie, but numbers don't. Anthony Joshua's numbers, his drawing figures, are bigger than Wilder's, in spite of Wilder's knockout percentage.
Those are the numbers that matter most in this situation. Who is able to draw more eyes to this card that is very expensive? I've no doubts it was very expensive for the Saudis to bring this many familiar names together.
Not saying that Wilder versus Parker doesn't have an air of excitement. It does, but this is a common sense argument. This isn't even Anthony Joshua's first rodeo in that region of the world. He's fought there before, drawn there before. He's already a bigger draw than you are.
It's not set in stone that Anthony is going to headline, that his fight with Otto is going to be the main event, but veteran boxing scribe Dan Rafael said as much, that he's the biggest star on the bill.
So it would be peculiar that the only star that's attached to major brands and has major corporate sponsorships isn't headlining? You're gonna leave it up to a flip of a coin?
That's arbitrary.
The card is happening in Saudi Arabia. That time zone in and of itself accommodates a UK audience better than an American one. That in and of itself is reason enough to have Anthony in the main event, not Deontay.